Or, as they would say in one show, all present and correct. Okay, so I will press start.
Good morning, class. I'm Mr. Bradshaw,
And I'm Miss Casto.
and today we're covering math and algebra 2. And just for fun, I have a little Calvin and Hobbes comment for you guys. Calvin's calling his dad from school, and he's wanting to know what 11 plus 7 is. It's just an example of typically the kind of approach that we have as we approach math today whenever you get algebra.
And then some thoughts that we have for today. We picked 2 Bible verses that we can relate to our math class. A lot of people feel like stressed out when they go into a math class. I'm stressed out today because I have an exam today. But 2 verses in Galatians 6:9, it says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." And then Hebrews 2:10 also says, "Therefore," transition word, "therefore do not throw away your confidence, which has great reward." And this is just telling us, like, if we have confidence and we have a positive attitude, like going into something, like when you approach a math problem, you want to be positive and you want to think, I can do this. Because a lot of the time, when you think you're going to do bad on something, you end up doing bad on it just because you think so.
All right. As we went over last class, just recovering the FOIL method, and it is also the distributive property. And just to cover some of the examples, to give a quick rundown for review.
Okay, so let's try the first one together. Okay, so can anybody tell me what the first step of the FOIL method is? Yes.
You multiply the first 2 digits in the parentheses together.
Okay, so what would it be?
X times x, or x squared.
Good. Can everybody see that? Okay. Who knows the second term? Abby?
And then you do first outer.
Yes. So it would be,
The x times negative 9,
so that equals,
negative 9x.
good. I have that little, like, rabbit foot there or something. Okay, and then next we take the second term and we multiply it by the first term. So we do 6 times x, which equals 6x. And who can tell me what the last term we do is? Yes.
You do the last ones, the 6 and the negative 9,
Correct. And what is that?
the negative 54.
Yes. And then when we simplify that, we get x squared minus 3x minus 54. Okay? So that's just a reminder of how we do the FOIL method. Sterling, or Mr. Bradshaw, would you like to show them the last one?
All right. Again, we go through the same process whenever we do the second example. We go ahead and we multiply the first ones out here, and that equals x squared. Then we multiply the first and the last. So who can tell me what that would be? Abby?
Negative 4x.
That's right. So minus 4x. And then we go ahead and we do the second term of the first set of parentheses and the first of the second set of parentheses. So that gives us minus 3x. And then who can tell me what the next step is? Ben.
Multiplying the negative 3 and negative 4.
All right. So that gives me what?
That would be
All right. Positive or negative?
positive.
All right.
Good job.
Good job.
That's because you're sleeping.
Okay. All right. And then whenever we simplify this, we get x squared minus 7x plus 12.
Okay, so it seems like you guys know that pretty well, so let's move on to today's topic.
Today's topic is quadratic factoring. First of all, I just want to cover some terms to make sure we all know what we're talking about today. A quadratic equation is a polynomial whose highest exponent is a 2. For example, px equals ax squared plus bx plus c. It's just the same thing as the answers you get when you do the FOIL method. Just a few other things that we need to know as we approach the quadratic equations. Both the a and b are coefficients. A coefficient is a number who is used to multiply a variable, and the letter c represents a constant. A constant is a number that stands alone as a single term. Basically, it's a number without a variable beside of it. Factoring is basically the backwards reverse method of FOIL. So basically, we're taking what we learned with FOIL and we're just reversing it.
Okay, so let's try one together. Okay, so like Mr. Bradshaw said, factoring is just the opposite of the FOIL method. So like we start out with 2 sets of parentheses when we use the FOIL method, that's what we're going to get as our answer when we factor. So we have 2 sets of parentheses. And the cool thing about factoring, when we have x squared as our leading term, it's going to be x is the first term in each of the parentheses. Because x times x is x squared. Okay? And so for our next term, we're going to look at this last number. And since it's a positive, that means that both of our signs in the parentheses are going to be the same. So it's either going to be x plus times x plus or x minus times x minus. And then the 6 tells us what factors we need to find that add up to equal 5, a positive 5. So can anybody tell me some factors of 6? Yes?
2 and 3.
Right. And now there's 2 and 3 add up to equal 5. Okay, so should I put an x minus 2 and an x minus 3, or an x plus 2 and x plus 3? Good job. And then we can also check our method to see if we did it correctly by the FOIL method, since it's the reverse. So when we do that, we get x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6. And then when we simplify that, we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. And see, we can see that we got the answer correct. So that's a cool way. That way, if you have extra time at the end of a worksheet or a quiz or anything like that, you can always check your answer to make sure you've gotten the correct answer, so you can be confident in that answer.
Alright, for the second example, we have x squared minus 2x minus 24. The negative sign tells us that we are going to have both a positive and a negative for our signs inside of our sets of parentheses. So whenever we go ahead and make our 2 sets of parentheses, we have x for the x squared, and then now here the signs matter because the negative sign that's up front tells us that the bigger of the 2 factors is going to be negative. So who can give me some factors of 24 that when they are subtracted from each other that they equal 2, negative 2? Abby.
6 and 4.
6 and 4. Okay, now which one will be negative?
6.
That's right.
Very good.
So we have x minus 6 and x plus 4. And then whenever we go back through with our FOIL method to check the answer, we end up with x squared plus 4x minus 6x minus 24. And then whenever we simplify it down, we have x squared minus 2x minus 24.
Okay. Wow, excuse me. Okay, now we're going to practice with a partner. So we handed out worksheets at the beginning of class, so now is the time to get those out. So try to work on as many as you can. We're going to work on these for a few minutes. What you want to do is you and your partner want to go through some ideas of factors that add up to equal the number when you're factoring, or you can simply factor them and then switch your papers and have your partner check it by the FOIL method. Does that make sense? And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands. We'll walk around and help. Actually, that was my mistake. I didn't say that clearly enough. These are the problems that you're going to want to work on. You can write them on your worksheet. Sorry, that was kind of unclear.
Alright class, now that we've given you a minute to work on this together, I need a volunteer to come up to the board.
It's not that scary. If you get it wrong, it'll be okay.
If you want to, Dr. Rich, you can come up here.
Oh, let's Sarah.
Alright, Sarah. Alright, so for the first example, basically we want you to show us what you did on the smartboard
To
here,
factor.
to factor it out.
And then we'll have another volunteer that can come up and check her answer by the FOIL method. Okay, who wants to come up real quick and check her answer by the FOIL method? Good. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Very good. She got it correct. Thank
Alright.
you.
Um,
So now it's going to be your turn. You're going to complete the worksheet that was handed out to you. You will complete it by the end of class. Don't worry. It's going to you can finish it for homework. Make sure you use the FOIL method to check your answers. So make sure you write that out on your paper so that we can see your work. And when you are working on it in class, don't try to talk to your neighbor. We want you to try to do it on your own, just so you can see if you really understand it or not. And if you do have questions, you can feel free to come see us during this class period or after class or anything like that.
Alright, so a quick review before we get started on the worksheets and just get into work mode for the day. Factoring is just doing what method in reverse? Who can tell me? Tyler?
FOIL?
That's correct. So, it's just doing the FOIL method in reverse.
Math teachers never have good handwriting.
Okay, a blank number is a number used to multiply a variable. Who can answer that one for me? Yes,
Coefficient.
that's
Very
correct. So coefficient is a number that's used to multiply a variable. A blank number is a number that stands alone as a single term. Who can tell me what that one is? Tyler.
Constant.
That's right. A constant is a number that stands alone as a single term.
Okay, and just some reminders for our next class. We will go over the answers for the worksheet the next class, so don't worry if you don't know if you got the right answer or not, and we can go over questions as well. And then after we go over that worksheet, we're going to play a review game to make sure that we understand it and just have a little bit of fun, so we can have fun in a math class, it's okay. And then after the game, we will have a short quiz over the quadratic factoring. But don't worry, because it will just be a short quiz and it won't be anything difficult. It'll be simple questions. Okay? Thank you guys. Have a great day.